Way. Get ready for the podcast. So hello, podcast speaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Demetra K Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all the things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people. And so I'll jump right into it. Last week, we had a pretty heated discussion.
We were
actually talking about the Central Park Five and trying to tie everything in with Joe Biden and Trump. And quite a few people took exception to me asking us to think about voting for Biden and that Biden not being the candidate for Black people. And so during that show,
we asked the question.
Right, we asked the question, but during that show, it's called a puppet. For who, I'm not sure. I'm going to assume they meant maybe I was a puppet for Trump. What else? And people said, don't listen to me and, Donovan, because I guess we were trying to take your vote away from the Democrat establishment. And we should also say that Donovan nor I are Republicans at all. We are, pretty much nonpartisan. Donovan identifies as a liberal. I am nonpartisan.
Liberal? I'm independent.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm liberal, but I'm
independent. Not a liberal, but independent. That's what I meant. I saw it in my head, but it came out. So I repeat that.
I think the heat's getting to you.
Yeah, Donovan is an independent. I am nonpartisan. So we are not telling you guys to vote for the Republicans or the Democrats. We're just asking you guys to think wisely about your vote because, as we know, the election is coming up in 2020, and we and the ADOS community, American Descendants of Slaves, are asking for reparations and for whoever goes to Washington on the Democrat ticket, since the Democrats benefit the most from the Black vote. The Democrats cannot win anything, and I'll keep saying that. They can't win anything, and I get all of you guys' comments, I swear.
They can't win anything, and they can't pass legislation without the Black vote.
Without the Black vote, and so it's important for us to know that. We all need to be on board. So it's also said that, and I'm not reading any notes today because I just kind of want to do a freestyle. It is said that the older Black Americans, so usually around 60 and up, are traditional in how they vote. They don't really want to rock the boat or the vote, if you will.
And that's because they've benefited the most from the civil rights actions and stuff like that.
So they think they have. So they don't really want to change what they're doing. They like Joe. Joe is familiar. And that's true for a lot of people. Joe is familiar. So it is said that Joe Biden is benefiting to the tune of about 46%.
I don't believe the polls.
Well, this is what they're saying, of the Black vote. And who is the third Black candidate that's running for the Democrat ticket?
Cory Booker.
Kamala.
And there's a guy, I forgot his name. I know who you're talking about.
So there's a total of 3 Black candidates that are running for the Democrat ticket. And they only combined have 11% of the vote.
Right. Didn't you announce?
No, I didn't announce. Okay. No.
I want to make sure. All right.
So the Black candidates that are running for the Democrat ticket only have about 11% of the vote combined. So that I just want to draw a picture for you guys just how much Joe Biden is benefiting from the Black vote. Okay. Now, what else do I have here? So, I guess really my question is just in general to you guys, and I don't see the people on here who are kind of taking me to task, but if there's anybody on here, and Cindy wants to know why you don't believe the vote, but I'll get to you guys' other comments.
I don't believe the polls. Okay.
So I want to know why. Why are we continuing to vote for Biden, or where we want to vote for Biden, and we can't keep saying, because all the research I did this morning, you guys know what the number one reason that Black people said we need to vote for Biden was?
To keep Trump out of there.
To get rid of Trump. That was the number one reason. There was no other reason other than we got it. The number one reason was to get rid of Trump. The other one was because Joe Biden is familiar, right? Joe Biden's familiar. He was with Obama and this, that, and the other. But nobody.
I'm familiar with the Ku Klux Klan.
Are you?
Yes. No, but that's a stupid thing. You're familiar.
Right.
I'm familiar with.
Well, that's what people are saying. But no one else has been able to say, well, I'm voting because he has done or will do, this, that, and the other. Like, okay, so a lot of people have said. I've heard some people say, well, he did he helped enact the second chance. Not the second chance, where they reversed the sentencing, what am I trying to say here? Where they reversed the stuff that he did in the 1980s and 94, where there was the harsh sentencing between the crack and the powder cocaine. So him and Obama, I can't think of the name of the, it was the Reform something.
Yeah,
Reform Act, Sentencing Act or something.
But do you honestly believe he wanted to do that? I don't think he did. Obama did that because it was overwhelmingly...
Okay, well, let me tell you guys this. Because like I said, I did my research and I've not heard anybody say this, what I'm about to read you, that came from Joe Biden's mouth. Okay? This was in 2008. Remember, he was running for president in 2008 against Barack Obama and everybody else that was in the race, right?
Is that when he said, y'all don't want this nigga to be president, do you?
Well,
go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, this is what he said, you guys. You listening? This is a quote that's still on his 2008, I guess, website for the campaign. He says, fighting crime is like cutting grass. In the summer, I cut my grass on a Sunday, and it looks great. I let it go for a week. It looks a little shaggy. Let it go for 2 weeks. I notice it. Let it go for a month. I have to, and I have the weeds back. Mm-hmm. So that's what he said in regards to crime. And so, also what I want to know is that's how he feels. He's likening crime to his grass growing back. What if, because they said too, once he enacted all the crime bills and stuff, that crime did seem to go down. So what if he gets into office in 2020 and crime starts to go up for whatever reason? Is he going to go back to what he did in the first place?
Why not?
How do we know he's not going to do that? Right? I mean, he's said he was sorry. Okay, he said he was sorry for what he did, but we all know the story behind that. Well, not sorry. He did, but it was more or less predicated on that he got bad medical information.
He never apologized. He's very proud of the crime bill. He is very proud of that crime bill.
Right, and he was. And in fact, is it on? No, so it was on this 2008 campaign website that he was pretty much bragging about his what he's done as far as the crime and the crime bills and things like that. And I'm surprised that it's still up, to be honest with you.
Well, once it's on the internet, it never get away. So all you people making them videos, it never goes away. But here's the reason why I don't believe in the polls.
Okay, so he's going to answer Sydney's question about the polls.
Yeah. Number one, I don't believe in the polls because they gave Donald Trump a 6 million and something chance of winning the presidential elections and stuff like that. He's president. They said that...
you mean as far as he wouldn't win?
Yeah, he would win. They said Hillary was 500. She had 530-something superdelegates. There was no chance she was going to lose to Trump. I mean, everything they said was wrong. These fake numbers for Kamala Harris. She doesn't have that kind of support. She's right now, they got her in 4th place.
I don't even think she's 4th place unless it's something recent.
The polls are totally wrong. They had Hillary Clinton winning this, and that state. Come to find out, she didn't win any of those things.
So basically, you're saying he doesn't believe in the polls because a lot of times the numbers are skewed. Depends on who's doing the polls. And some of them are conservative, some of them are liberals, and so it just depends on who they're polling. A lot of times we think when a person is something is being polled that they're polling all black people or all women or whatever, but they're just polling, let's say, out of 1,000 people.
4 people.
Then, this amount of people, so they kind of gather. And I'm not even a statistics individual at all, but I kind of get the gist of it. All right, and so let's see. Hello to everybody. Asada says that froze everything. Thank you. It is going to shrink. Just watch. It's going to be called the Incredible Shrinking Afro. And Cindy says, what's up, family? What's up, D? What's up, Donovan? Throwing rocks high as you can, talking crap. Cindy, loving the fro. Might need to borrow some hair. You can have it. And then, so Tay says, hell no to Biden. Don't waste your vote. Charles says, love the fro. Thank you. I definitely will not be voting for Joe Biden nor any corporate Democrat or Republican ever. I will be voting for the most progressive candidate who will bring Medicare for all and a federal jobs guarantee, federally funded and locally administered. And I remember you were saying that once before, too, that you're just, you're looking for not just necessarily about the candidate, but something that's going to help you live a better quality of life. Even if that is, a government job and all that.
Tangibles. You want tangibles. And how many of you guys heard Once again, Joe Biden plagiarized.
Yeah,
once again.
Right, yeah, that's probably something he's going to do.
So I want you guys to think about this, piggybacking on what you've been saying about Joe Biden. If he plagiarized once and got caught, he's going to do it a second time. He went back to his same old playbook. So like you said, what are the chances he's going to go back and say, you know what? I'm the man now. I'm going to crack that black ass as much as I can.
Right. I mean, he's not even promising black people anything.
Anything.
You know, and so you think on the surface, because I can hear it in my head right now, somebody black is probably saying, well, why we need to be promised something? Why we need to get something? Why we can't get nothing on our
Everybody
own?
else does.
Everybody else, I mean, everybody else gets something. And Joe Biden has been on the giving end of giving everybody else something. I mean, he's talking about legislation for immigrants, you know,
Irish
stuff
roots
for women, Jews, everybody else. But yeah, we won't demand that like I said, I don't know, but to me it looks like he's going to be the nominee, but we won't ask nothing for him just because he feels good. He, you know, he's familiar.
I'm cool.
Right. And so Charles says there is absolutely no difference between the Republicans and the corporate Democrat. Trump fear isn't doing nothing for black people, brown people, poor people.
Tell it,
nothing.
brother. Tell it.
Well, you know, I just think a lot, especially, you know, a lot of the white people who voted for Trump, because I saw something about some truck drivers or something.
Yeah.
Truck drivers, and that was about the tariffs or something. Something going on with the truck drivers.
That's affecting the American, and they're not going to vote.
Yeah, and that was affecting their money now. But I bet you a lot of those truck drivers are like, well, yeah, go Trump. But, you know, because they were mistakenly thinking that Trump was for them and he was like them and all this other stuff.
Well, what it was, he was talking like them.
Right.
And, you know, it's the same thing as, well, gosh, I like Bush because, you know, you could drink a beer with him, but he wouldn't drink a beer with you.
Right. And
when you're that rich, you don't mess with the serfs.
Right. Oh, and so Al says, Wayne Masson, somebody, is the other black presidential candidate.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, Wayne Masson, that's right.
Never even heard of him, because when I was doing when I was reading, because I didn't have a chance to like dig deep, I was like, who is the third person? Then it dawned on me, it must be somebody I've never heard of. Hey, Joe, what's happening? He says, been a while since I got to listen to you. What's happening? And Alex says, it's too hot to be wearing all that black. Well, I'm wearing the black because I'll sweat through. As you can see, I have sweat rings. I sweat. So anything else would have been a mess. And Cindy says, so do we believe Trump has 30% of black men's vote?
No. He's not even.
You don't think so?
No, he's not even trying to get the black folks. So how could he get 30% of the black men?
36% of the black men.
No, I don't believe that at all.
I don't
believe that at all. Because if 80% of black people voted for Hillary overwhelmingly of the black vote, and then they still blame the black people for not coming out, even though we gave them 80% of the vote.
Well, do y'all think that more black men, because I don't know, I haven't done the research, are voting for Trump than they did when Hillary was running?
That's a good question.
Because that might be the case. Maybe more black men are saying, hey, you know what? Let's try Trump. Or I'll tell you guys this thing. I talked to and I'm not going to say his name, a very prominent man in Southern California the other day.
You can go ahead and say my name.
It wasn't Donovan.
Okay.
And he said that he likes the ideas of Trump. He said because he's about business. And he says, this is what he said, not me. He said that black people need businesses because businesses black businesses are going to help us get to where we got to go in life. So he said he doesn't have a problem with some of Trump's ideology. So maybe men like him.
Now that's an ignorant Negro because Trump is not a good businessman.
I'm just telling you what the black man told me.
I know where he's going with that. That would have validity if Trump was a good businessman. He is not. Right.
Well, I guess what he's saying is because Trump's policies are, seem to be more business aligned. But we know, as we can see, like with the tariffs and
everything this man touches turns to shit.
It's plummeting. Right. And then hey, Charlie says, I will never vote for Joe Biden. All right. And y'all, and Charles says, the corporate media, all the networks are the mouthpiece for the establishment, the deep state, the corporate state. We have no media. Yes, black people, we need to have some form of media. And I really do wish, while we still have this thing called Facebook, Twitter, and all this other stuff, that we would use our platforms more to help promote the black agenda and the things that black people need, opposed to a lot of the other nonsense that we see. It said that Dr. Claude Anderson says that we own less than 3% of the media, which is hardly anything. So if you don't own any media, you can't own your narrative, and everybody else tells your story. And a lot of times we know that's not true. Going back to something like the Central Park Five, which is how the media was able to turn these dudes into animals. Not my words, theirs. This is how they were able to do it, because the little black media outlets that they had weren't big enough to overcome the narrative that was being painted about these unfortunate, not that the boys are unfortunate, but that they found themselves in an unfortunate situation. And Dwight, what's happening, says, hello there. Kamala is in 5th place in Iowa CNN polls after Biden, Bernie, Elizabeth, and Pete Buttigieg.
Right. Now, I hope you guys understand, all of these Democrats corporate Democrats have been promised something, because they're trying to split the vote to deny Bernie Sanders the nomination. Okay, the only Democrat that I think is as honestly legitimate and thinking outside the box is Andrew Yang. He doesn't have a chance.
And you don't even hear nothing about Andrew Yang, and I agree that I like Andrew's platform, even though he's not talking about reparations. But I feel like
a form of it. He's talking about
a form of it. But I mean, how many of you guys would love to have $1,000 to $2,000 a month in your pocket, extra, no tax, and not being taxed or any of that, just here? How many of you would like that?
Right.
So anyway. And then Sydney says plagiarism. Yeah, he's been taking people's.
Basically, he took something on climate change, because remember, he was against it. He was trying to be in the middle of the road,
right?
And then they were like, "Hey, dog, you want the millennial vote? Whatever. You're gonna have to do something." And so he went to some of these green companies' websites and pasted and posted on his almost verbatim the same playbook he did back in 1988.
As old as he is, he should be able to come up with some original stuff, right? And Dwight says the tax cuts were overrated for small business people like truck drivers. Well, I mean, a lot of them bought into it.
They've already said that the CBC has already said, and the OBM have already said that the Trump tax cuts overwhelmingly went to rich people and corporations.
And that's what Cindy just said. Trump's tax cuts affected Trump's taxes.
Right.
And then, Charlie, you say people voted for Trump just because they hate the Clintons and because they did not get Bernie. That's true.
Yes.
And they voted because racism fueled a lot of that, too. Look at all the stuff that, Trump was saying. He was, very pro-police to the point of, we need stop and frisk everywhere. So that speaks to the fears of his base.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you but disagree with you, because all these white women went into that booth, like you said last week.
Oh, yeah.
And we're for Hillary. And they got behind that poll and said, Trump.
Right. And that's really what happened.
And then Hillary has the nerve to blame black people not coming out.
Nah.
80% of us came out
More
and
than
voted.
That, yeah.
And you're still blaming us for your loss?
Right. And
maybe you're just a bad candidate.
Right. Joe says, up in Chicago, the black vote is switching to Trump. A lot of it was because of prison reform, and he's trying to help the black communities up there, but the Democrats are trying to block all of it. Well,
are you surprised?
I'm not surprised by that, but Trump is very problematic, because I looked on the website today, or some of the research I was doing, and it says that so far, I could be wrong, that Trump has pardoned about 7 people. And some of them were his homies. Yeah. And so when you talk about something like prison reform, it's like, yeah, he's doing some things, but it's like
it'll take a high profile person to
like a Kim Kardashian. But we also got to remember too, with Trump, he was standing up there talking about, he's very pro-police and the pro.
Rough him up as you put him in.
To be a little bit more rough with criminals and that kind of stuff.
When they put him in handcuffs, I hope they do that to him.
Yeah, right. That'll never happen. Yeah. In addition, we, like I said, we've heard a lot more about the Central Park 5, and Trump was very instrumental.
And he's been quiet about that.
Helping seal the unfortunate fate of those 5 individuals who were completely innocent, and so. That's why I say Trump I don't know. It's like we are stuck with the lesser 2 evils, but do we have to decide?
It's still evil. Everybody, this is just my philosophy. Elections are a transaction. They want my vote, so what am I going to get for it? So here's what I want from you.
Right. That's how it works.
If they don't want to give me reparations, you're not getting my vote. So even though I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter and I know what they're doing to try to deny him the election, Bernie's not getting my vote because he's not talking reparations. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, that's stupid because you got to vote for somebody. If you vote for evil, less of 2 evils, it's still evil. Right. So I don't vote for evil. So I think if they're not giving you a transaction and there's nothing in the store that I want to buy, I'm going to keep my money in my pocket, and I'm going to go and sit out until something better comes along.
Right.
And if I have to wait 4 years to do it, I will do it.
Absolutely.
But the Democrats cannot win an election without the black vote. And if you want the black vote, then we need to start demanding, just like the LGBTQ MNOP community and all the other communities, and say, okay, here's our demands, make it happen.
Right. And Sydney says, what policy? I don't know what that is. I'm going to catch up on these comments. And Charles says, by the way, we only got 39 years due to irreversible global warming left because we have allowed these psychopath poisons to poison our water supply by fracking. Thank Hillary Clinton and the fossils. Mm-hmm. And they said the fossil fuel industry. Fortunately, we will probably be gone due to natural gases, but our children and grandchildren are going to see the end of civilization. Now, you know what? That is sad. That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
And let's see here. Sydney says, speaking of Twitter, why can't I share your tweets? You said, speaking of Twitter, share your tweets. So rewrite that because I think it's messed up. And Dwight says, disaster declarations will bring out the vote because of the natural cause damage in the heartland. Okay, which heartland are you speaking of? Are you speaking of like middle America? And Cindy says, we did not have cable back in the 89 in the majority of New York City. Right. So with that, you know, Trump and, you know, all the white media outlets, they were able to demonize these boys. At the time, they were boys. And then you also say, give me 2 G's a month, would invest in bonds. Yeah, I mean, what can people do? Speaking of Andrew Yang's platform, he's talking about giving people $1,000 to $2,000 a month. 18 and over. Every American 18 and over, $1,000 to $2,000 a month. To make the difference, and that can make a difference for a lot of people. A lot of people can actually afford to live in a house and not a car. You know what I mean? And Charles says Yang is pushing a universal basic income compared to a federal jobs guarantee at a living wage and Medicare for all beats $1,000 monthly income. Yang is pushing. Well, you know, I just think because I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I'll try to ascertain it. To a lot of people, they can understand getting $1,000 in their pocket. You know what I mean? Exactly. Or $2,000 in their pocket to survive. A lot of people can just use $2,000 to survive. Or $1,000 to survive. That's to say $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. Let's say you have 4 people in your household. That's $48,000 extra dollars a year. Hell,
you're no longer on the poverty line.
Yeah, that takes you right out of poverty. Or, I mean, you can open up a business. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do with that kind of money. Most people don't just live on their own unless you're Donovan. Most people have more people in the house, especially because rent is so high and everything. You know, kids are coming back home. So you figure you have 4 or 5 people in the household, 5 people at $12,000 a year apiece. That's $60,000 roughly. My math is probably bad, but, you know, you get the point. So anyway, Joe says if Joe Biden becomes a nominee, the Democrats are doomed. Anybody but racist.
That racist.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we talk about racism, Joe Biden is no different than Donald Trump. If you look at his history, I'm
trying to find out where all these people was or where they at last week when they was saying, oh, I'm voting for Joe, you a puppet. Where are these people at? Because now I'm just speaking to people who agree. So anyway, you guys too, if you have anything, because I know a lot of things have happened, you guys want to talk about anything else that has happened, I don't care what it is, we're just kind of freestyling today because it's hot or whatever.
Yeah, did you see the Basketball Wives thing where the...
No, we ain't talking about no Basketball Wives, okay? But if you guys want to talk about anything else, please bring it up in the comments and we can chop it up. I don't care if you need some advice, whatever it is. It is Freestyle Sunday. And then Dwight says, voter suppression in Republican states with new requirements to register to vote. There was some suppression in cities. I don't doubt it. And
right. Did you hear about the voter suppression that's going on the Indian tribal lands where now, because most Indian tribals have P.O. boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And, they don't have street names on the reservations.
Right.
So, I think it was in Montana or Nebraska, one of the major states up there, they said that if you don't have a physical address on your driver's license, you can't vote. So they're doing all kinds of fanatical ways to deny not just black people, people of color, ways to vote.
Right. And then Sydney says Southern white women, yes, they went in there and voted for Trump. They sure did. And now, most of their husbands are truck drivers. Go figure.
Right.
You know, and now they sitting up on CNN. Oh, you know, we don't know what we gonna do. We it's hurting our pockets. Really? Did you think about that before you and your woman went in the booth and voted for Trump?
Oh, and now he's stopping abortion, and what did you think was going to happen?
They thought he was really their friend.
And what I don't understand is a lot of these, well, not a lot, the states that have women governors are signing the abortion bill. Where's your solidarity? What happened to the woman's solidarity? What happened to that?
Crazy. This is a man's work.
Okay.
Hey, Jamai says, we should build with Sabre Bay. Give us a little bit more detail about that. And Al says, hey, Donovan, is John Hickenlooper, who's running for a good candidate? The hell is that?
He's a good candidate, but I don't think he really has a chance of getting the support that he would need.
Well, we can't even say his last name.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good candidate, but he's not as good as and progressive. See, here's the problem. Joe Biden will get his head beat in even if he did become the nominee. Because guess what? You're going to piss the millennials off again by rigging the election against them. There are more millennials than there are baby boomers and Generation Xers. That's just a fact. Okay? So we need a candidate that has to be progressive. Now, even though I don't really care for Elizabeth Warren, and she's a normal, whatever, corporate Democrat, whatever, establishment Democrat, not corporate. She's an establishment Democrat. She's coming around to the progressive cause. She's a little late to the game, but notice she's bumping in her thing. But whenever the news gets behind a certain candidate, I'm very skeptical.
Right. And Sydney says, correction, black women voted for Hillary Clinton. You better believe it.
Overwhelmingly.
Right. And the White says, turnout wins. No, absolutely. And then let's see, Charlie says, if Bernie does not get the nomination, people will surely vote Trump because humans are by nature. Don't forget that hurt and pain of not getting Bernie in 2016.
Yes, and that helped Trump get in there too because the millennials said to hell.
Right.
It came out that you rigged the election in the Democratic Party. So that tells me the Democrats don't even believe in democracy.
Right. And Dwight says Middle America, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, and Iowa are experiencing floods. Some parts of Texas. Absolutely. I figured that's what you were talking about. I didn't know maybe if you're talking about also the Lord of the Rings where Middle Earth.
Right. But it's absolutely superbly done. We're gonna go in there and just do stuff.
Right. Okay. And Cindy says I saw your tweets, but I can't retweet your tweets. I don't know why you can't retweet my tweets. I have to look because I actually just got back on Twitter.
That's probably why.
Yeah, somebody just tell me about Twitter, so I was like, let me get back on there. So I have to look and see what's going on with my tweets. And then Dwight says, did you see the Netflix portrayal of the Central Park 5 fabulous backlash on the prosecutors? Yes, I did see it. We actually talked about it last week. And there is a lot of backlash. She has been dropped by a publisher and taken off a bunch of boards and things like that.
She's wiped her social media.
She's taken off her social media, closed them, whatever, deleted them, if you will. She is now experiencing the backlash she should have gotten, in the 80s when this happened. She should have,
Her lawyer came out and said that depiction of her was totally fictional.
Of course it was. Sure.
What's her name? DuVernay.
And the man that came out and said he actually did it that was fiction too.
Right. So.
Whatever. Yeah, sue then. Sue.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. If what they depicted was totally wrong, and you're being slandered,
right?
So sue.
Right. You're the lawyer.
You're a lawyer. Sue him.
And Charles says Golden State Warriors dynasty is on a death knell. Tomorrow night, Toronto is bringing the NBA championship north. Okay.
Okay, well, I want you to remember this. Kawhi Leonard is a local product from the city that we are sitting in right now. So he's going to lead them there. I'm with you, brother.
And all that basketball talk, that's... okay? And Charlie says Andrew Yang is speaking volumes, unlike the other Democrats that are running. Yeah, why aren't people listening to Andrew Yang?
Because the media isn't giving him the attention. Notice he hasn't got his town hall yet.
But he hasn't got a town hall, but he will be on the stage. When is it coming up this week?
Right.
Or so?
Yeah, it's going to be this week, and I think it's this week.
And so that's when they're saying too.
But the thing is, I want you guys to pay attention to how many questions he gets. They're going to probably give him like one.
But this is his opportunity to because he is really, really not just charismatic, but he has all of his ducks in a row. Everything makes sense.
If you're looking for a businessman to lead this country, this is the guy. He's a businessman.
Right.
a real
Right,
businessman.
but if you're just looking for some feel good, then
Yeah, if you're looking for a reality star that was broke and, that it's a fake-cade, vote for Trump.
right. Right.
But
And then the White
Andrew
says
Yang's
only
real.
one woman governor in Alabama. She's the one that signed
Yeah,
the...
but that initially kicked off all these other
Right.
states doing it, and you would think that she would be like, as a woman, be like,
well, her factory dried up. She like it on back.
yikes.
And he also said governor from Colorado. And Cindy says, I am beat if you don't vote... He said, I am beat if you don't vote Republican. I don't understand what that means. And Charles says the California Democrat booed the hell out of the corporate Democrats last week.
Yeah, they did. They did. The guy was saying, how healthcare does it. I'm sorry. You're in a party that is full of millennials. They want free medical. They want free education.
Well, because the millennials are... everybody's suffering, but they're suffering the most. A lot of them can't move out of the house. A lot of them can't find a good job to, for one, pay off student debt. So it's like a lot of them aren't even having kids anymore and getting married. They're like, for what?
Right.
I can't even feed myself. And I'm tired of eating top ramen. I'm talking about myself.
Right.
I'm just playing.
Yes.
And Sydney says Charles Durant is playing.
Okay.
All right. That's some basketball talk.
Basketball term, yeah.
And the White says, explain the tariff deal and immigration from Mexico and Central America. Well, didn't he say he was reversing that? That he was actually going to hold off on the tariff deal or the tariff, what do you call it?
Yeah, why was he going to do that?
Well, he wanted Mexico to, strengthen
Stop
their immigration stuff.
No. Okay. Again, notice that the backlash came from his own party that said, if you do this tariff, because it's going to hurt America. A tariff is a tax on us. It's election time. A lot of the senators... Republican senators are up for election, a third of them.
They was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, whoa. And they actually told him, if you do this, we're going to do a veto, which wouldn't look good for Trump. When your party rebels against you.
Especially since they've been agreeing with him
Yes.
up until the... See, they're going to show you right there. When it comes to the money,
yes,
we're going to have to, push back. But when it comes to harming other people and all those things, do what you got to do, you know?
Right. And that is why he said, I'm going to hold off. Because, Mexico did this. If you guys read the Mexican papers and you watch Telemundo, and if you understand Spanish, they're going to tell you there was no negotiations.
Right, but that's what he did. When he tweeted, like they agreed to it. It's like,
they didn't agree to anything.
Right. And hey, RC says, Donovan, Democrats don't even believe in democracy. He's quoting you. He said
Yes, they don't. They don't. When you steal an election, what does that tell you?
Right. And Dwight says Kevin Durant, not Charles. Okay.
Yeah, Kevin Durant.
And Kawhi Leonard is what he says with a question mark.
Yeah,
hey,
Kawhi Leonard.
Gina.
He's a local product from our
from
school system.
Right
up the street.
King.
He went to Canyon Springs first, then transferred to King.
And he says, hey, now, just coming on. How are you guys? We are doing well. How about yourself? Again, if you guys have anything you want to talk about, anything, please put it in the comments and we'll talk about it. Dwight says Andrew Yang might not get on the first stage. He averages about 1% as we speak. Yes, but he qualified.
Yeah, he qualified for the first
to be on the stage. He got the right amount of signatures. Or something.
He had to have 60,000.
Yeah, and he qualified months ago, like
ago.
February or something. So he's been qualified.
And another problem that the Democrats are having right now, especially the corporate Democrat media, is they didn't think all these guys were going to qualify, and they did.
Right. Yeah, he qualified months ago.
So now they're having a problem, and how are you going to get that amount of candidates?
You need them all on the stage.
Right, and to get the questions out. Because think about it. If there's there's 26
about that.
Democrats, and let's just say hypothetically 19 of them have qualified.
Right.
How many questions are you going to be able to get out?
Be in for a long night. And Grady says Andrew Yang is very intelligent, so smart, and on point. I agree. I don't have a problem with Andrew Yang.
When Demetria actually turned me on to him, and when I went to his thing and I saw all the proposals he had, I mean, that guy was just a beautiful mind.
Yes.
You know? Wow.
And Charlie says the media wants Joe Biden. They are pushing Joe agenda. The Joe agenda, absolutely.
Look at Joe Biden's candidacy. Doesn't it not remind you of Hillary?
Oh, yeah.
So if it reminds you of Hillary, then what kind of outcome are you going to expect if he is the nominee?
Right. And Charlie says the Republicans have who is running, but the Democrats have over 20 persons running for president. It's
26.
the time The Democrats need to get together. Nope, they're all for splitting the vote every which way but loose. And Hannah says this is a republic, not a democracy.
Yeah, we understand that. A republic means you're going to vote for somebody, that they're going to take you up there. And then once they get up there, they go, yeah, I'm supposed to represent this district,
Right.
but I feel
Right.
I need to vote
And
this
it's more like
way.
a dictatorship than
Right.
anything.
I mean, like I said, Corrine Brown, Aunt Maxine.
She should be getting out soon.
Yeah, next year.
Corrine Brown.
Aunt Maxine. You go in there, look at their record. They weren't millionaires when they got in there, but they are now.
Right. And Al says, my mom told me the city councilman wants to offer her a job, saying she is a living example of what America is today. I told her he's right. Your cookies are in the recession and your mouth is in... Lord have mercy. Oh, my God. It's inflated.
Yes,
Ow,
absolutely.
ow, ow. And Cindy says, I went to Williamsburg, Brooklyn yesterday. I did not think I was in New York, though thought I was in Toronto.
Wow.
The apartments look like Mediterranean. Talk about gentrification.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like that everywhere.
Yeah.
You come out here, especially where I live in Riverside, which is the city over, it's getting completely gentrified.
Yeah, I was in LA yesterday on Vermont Avenue, right off the 105, and that's where the city has their administrative offices. I've never seen, right down the street, I've never seen so many homeless people.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
LA homeless and to the point of LA's homeless problem is getting so bad. Not to gross you guys out, but they said because of the amount of feces, the human feces, that's just everywhere. Because you think about it, I'm homeless. I got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Most of those businesses got locks on the doors, and they're not letting homeless people come in there. Where you going to go?
Right.
You going to go where you at.
And a lot of people say, well, why don't they just put out porta potties? Well, they tried that, and unfortunately a lot of assaults were taking place, and people were like taking over the porta potties to live in.
But they could, like, there's stuff they can do.
They can patrol those areas.
Right, but they're saying it's so bad, and it's causing a rat problem, right? Rat and mice and stuff.
And fleas.
Mice and rats and fleas and roaches and stuff. They don't say, oh, well, that's the gentrified area.
Yeah.
We're not going to go over there because those are newly built establishments. They're like, shoot.
Right.
What they got. So now the rich, the people who are doing the gentrification, they are having to do something now because it's like...
It's an unforeseeable expense that now they have to
and they said that also in LA... that what are the diseases that come from like feces
TB,
and stuff? The people, just everyday average people, starting to get these diseases that you wouldn't normally get because it's just so unsanitary.
Right. Now, real quick history lesson for you guys. What stopped the Black Plague?
I forget.
Cats.
Cats.
They brought in the cats.
Well, they need some cats and some shelters.
And you see T'Challa over there guarding the guardian of the garage, and I got the two lazy ones in there.
Right. And Dwight says there are 2 stages and 2 nights. Only 20 qualified. 10 one night and 10 the next night. Average 8-minute discussion. Joe Biden is not Hillary Clinton. I want Bernie Sanders.
Right. Right. But
okay.
but if you look at how he's conducting his campaign, it's exactly like Hillary. He's not even showing up. Just like Hillary, I got it in the bag. I got from 32 delegates. He's not even showing up on Democratic events.
Right.
To introduce himself. He's like, I got this in the bag. I'm going to Iowa.
Right.
So it's just...
And Charles saying, not free stuff. Democrats and Republicans want a Congress that spends on the 99% for a change instead of the 1%. No one talks about how much these illegal wars cost, but universal health care and tuition... Let's see. Tuition-free public college and technical training, spending programs on green renewable energy. Then the establishment and corporate media wants to talk about how much it costs. Every federal dollar is a new dollar spent into existence. Americans, Congress can never go broke spending on anything because Congress has exclusive powers of the purse.
Powers of the purse and to regulate the money.
Absolutely. And Arson says... He's replying to Dwight. Bernie was clear about not wanting any reparations, by the way.
Yep.
And Jamad, he says you can contact him on Facebook. He directed a documentary called Out of Darkness. His name is Saber Bay. I have to check him out.
Okay.
I will check him out. And Dwight says homelessness is all over in America, like San Francisco, Phoenix, Houston, Chicago, and DC. It's everywhere. But because I live out here. LA is the closest thing. In fact, where I live in Riverside, they actually ship or bus homeless people
Out
to
here.
Los Angeles because, you know, they don't want them here. They have all these ordinances and stuff. But, I mean, where are they going to go, you know?
Yeah, and think about this. Where I live here in Moreno Valley, we have a lot of empty warehouses. You build it and nobody comes because the robots are starting to come in to replace these $9 an hour Amazon jobs that they promised, 20,000 jobs. Now the robots are replacing these because who wants to work in California at $9 an hour?
Right.
For nothing.
Well, you can't.
But, when you got empty warehouses, that attracts a lot of homeless people because those areas are unincorporated and there's nothing going on there. And so they move in over there. They're not bothering anybody. And then it eventually becomes even more of a problem. Right down the highway here, we have an encampment in Paris of a whole city of homeless people down there.
Right. And Dwight says death stops the Black Plague and cremated the dead. Mm-hmm. I did hear that. And Sydney says, okay, not visiting California. I'm just telling you what I've been reading.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean,
it's
me
bad.
and my friend, we go walking at least like 3 times a week, 8 miles. And during that walk, we walk downtown. Mm-hmm. And there's just stuff everywhere. And it's so gross. It is. And she works downtown. And she says there's times where she says she often has to look down before she steps to make sure when she's getting out of a car that she's not stepping into something. And I'll leave it to you guys' imagination. So it is not just California, it's everywhere, but you get the point. And Tay says, didn't Congress just give themselves a pay raise?
They sure did.
That's a damn shame. And Hannah says gentrification is synonymous with improvement in an area, which raises the value of property. So do we want shit to stay messed up or keep prices down? Well,
good question.
That is a good question. We want to keep prices down, but we want to keep the neighborhoods black, and that's by us, investing in our own neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Stop leaving the neighborhoods, improve our own situation. Because Donovan has a perfect example. He's the last black man standing, not only on this block, but really in the neighborhood,
in the city.
And he often has people ask him, "Is he going to sell his home?" And so he's got a neighbor that's selling now. Mm-hmm. And he's like the last white dude on the block. Mm-hmm. And there's, Hispanic is buying the property. Mm-hmm. And so Donovan moves. I don't want to say there goes the neighborhood in like a bad way, but, then where do we leave? Like, what if Donovan wanted to move and say, hey, I'm going to rent to one of my people to keep one of us here? He doesn't have that power anymore if he sells.
Right.
And so that's what we've been doing.
Good analogy.
So I agree with you. Do we want things to change? Or to get fixed, yeah, but not to the detriment of the people who make the neighborhood what it is, right?
Right, or just think about this. When gentrification does start happening, who moves out of the neighborhood? Who has to move? We have a stadium being built for the LA Rams right now. People that have been there for over 80 years. Because they don't want the people who live there, it's not a depressed area, but it's an old Cracker Jack, Boys in the Hood type neighborhood. Right. They're moving those people out because they got to make parking for the elite.
Just had to. There's a lady who was in her 80s. She's been there for years and years and years and years. She's being, not just because of stadium, but she's being forced out, partially through gentrification. But the people who live there want to now put her out to move their daughter in.
Right.
And so Arnold Schwarzenegger is like, I'm gonna, pay for her to find somewhere to live because he said I know her and this, that, and the other.
Right. But what if she doesn't want to move? Maybe she's content.
Right. But to your point about the stadium, there are people who are being displaced because the rent. One dude said he was paying $800 for a long time, and now it's gone up to like almost $3,000. Right. So he has to move.
He has to move, and then where's he going to move? In California, I mean,
he moved in with his sister, and he said that now he's going to have.
They're going to have to move too. They're going to have to move,
right? And so Al says
gentrification always affects us,
right?
It just does. I mean,
right? Because we won't do what we need to do to stay there. Mm-hmm. And Al says a prominent St. Louis preacher went to the Cardinals game today, but he wasn't paying attention because his eyes were on the sparrow. You so silly. Arson says, "Oh my God, L.A. City, I have always wanted to visit, has gotten that dirty." Yes.
Well, okay.
Well, to be honest, when they gentrify an area, what is it exactly that they expect the poor to do? Or, let's see, where to go. Could this not be an extreme that might have them rethink this movement? Well, it's going on like that in all the downtown areas.
Major cities and stuff.
LA is known for Skid Row. That is actually a thing. Mm-hmm. And you'll be surprised that, let's say somewhere, the divide between, let's say, Venice Beach and whatever's on the other side, I can't think of the neighborhood.
Santa Monica.
It is crazy. Like you cross the street, You leave Venice
Right.
Beach and it's all nice and, you know,
Uh-huh.
people are airy and breezy and it's cool. You cross the street, it's just like homelessness. It's crazy.
Or put it like this: Skid Row is not far from Staples Center.
Yeah, they're all like right in the same area. Just the street over
Yep.
is the difference between it. So as I said, the rats and the mice and the roaches they're not respecting the gentrification line. They're like, we going over there and podcast. We'll be right back with the second half. You guys have any more questions you guys want to ask me, please do. And then you say, Sydney, a lot of homelessness in New York. It is so sad seeing a pregnant woman asking for money. Yeah, it's everywhere like that. You know, and he also said, I follow Xavier. He's very informative. I have to check him out. And Dwight says, LA homelessness